So it is with you, and how you make me new with every season's change. And so it will be as you are recreating me. Summer, autumn, winter, spring.
Hey, you're not a real witch. You don't even fucking go to Hogwarts. Magic? That shit ain't real. You don't have a black hat. Your magic wand doesn't have sparks coming out of it. You don't wear a conical hat. It's not Halloween anymore. Change out of your witch costume. You don't dress like a goth. It means you're not a witch. Harry Potter is not real, you know. Hells yeah. Hey guys, I hope you liked that little introduction that I made. Okay, so this week's topic. I know I'm like kind of lying down because I'm freaking tired. But I'm making this topic on, well, it will be yesterday, I'm making this on Monday, today. But obviously it'll be loaded tomorrow, Tuesday, which will be your today because that's when you'll be watching it. And the topic is magic in the media, and a couple of things I'm going to be discussing today is A, how people accuse young pagans of not being true to their path because of films which have magic in them and things, and how people do get interested in the path by watching these. But bear with me. This topic was suggested by a Priestess of Hathor, and I freaking love this topic. I think it's a really good one to start off with. It's not your typical topic. Try saying that 5 times fast. So yeah. I think people who are uneducated in paganism are going to automatically try and make a link between Harry Potter, Charmed, The Craft, and real paganism, Wicca, and shamanism, and druidism, whatever. Apologies to people who are druids if I said if druidism is not a word and I've just made that up. And they automatically think, because people cast spells in these films, and we cast spells, that there is automatically the same thing, and that is not true. And it's so, I can relate to the frustration where someone's saying, you do know magic isn't real, and Harry Potter isn't real, and you know, it's like, it's so silly. And basically that's what people think. But the thing is, and also you tend to find that a lot of people who are pagans do tend to gravitate towards those sort of programs and films. And this is not because we're trying to reenact the films or we think those films are real. That is the main misconception. For instance, I freaking love Harry Potter. I love Charmed. I love The Craft. I love Supernatural. I love The Secret Circle. I love True Blood. All of those programs I freaking love, and I love watching them. Why? Because A, I like the fantasy elements in books and TVs and films, and I like magic related things. I'm going to sit up now. I'm trying to get uncomfortable. I like magic related programs and stuff, not because I think they're real, because I like fiction, I like fantasy. I've always been interested in it since a child. And this is where I come to my next topic of pagans starting on their path because they're initially just interested in the fantasy element. Now, there are 2 ways this can go. The way I went is when I was very young. I've always been interested in the fantasy element of things. I always used to want a dragon. I always used to want a fairy. I always used to be all freaking the weird little girl who used to have fairies as friends. What can I say? And yes, I was interested in all that, and I am interested in all that, all those films and books and things you read. Yes, they do make your mind wander, but this is where it changes, because then I discovered paganism, and I discovered Wicca, and I realised, wow, I get this. This completely fits to me, and I didn't think You know, I didn't wander in and then suddenly not do, you know, I didn't ignore the research, I didn't ignore the actual meaning of it and think I'm just going to be able to freaking cast visual amazing freaking spells out of a magic wand. That's not what happened. I understood it and I read it and I got it, and then it's history from there, isn't it? I mean, then we come to today. But there are some people who start off loving fantasy films and books, and then when they learn about Wicca and they go around and they say, you know, I'm a witch and I can cast spells and I can do this and I can do that, before even researching into the religion and into the faith behind it, and not even just that, just witchcraft in general, you know, actually researching it. And I think this is where people get the misconception. It's from people saying they are something when they haven't really researched into it. So in a way, I do think that it's understandable in a way for someone who's uneducated to quickly make judgments because of things other people have said. You know, if your friend tells you something, at first your initial reaction isn't to think she's lying to you. You just think, oh my god, you know, really? That yeah, I know I do. And then you realise, okay, that might not be true. It's a little over exaggerated, blah blah blah. But if you're not educated in the subject, my video just cut off. I'm sorry. A lot of people hate Christians, and I don't hate Christians. I don't have anything against Christians or any religion for that matter. I'm quite happy to coincide with everybody. What I hate is people who are discriminative. And that's what I categorise them under. I don't categorise them under Christians or anything else. But unfortunately, as pagans, we are categorised under, and just as other religions are categorised. For instance, Christians are categorised about hating us. We are categorised under being these weird. Bear with me, people, but this is what people think of us. Weird people who think they can cast spells and turn people into frogs and think magic is real and we're all away with the fairies. And realistically, that is what people think of us, unfortunately. People who are small-minded and that haven't researched into it. So I think these books and films and things, yeah, they can make people think differently of us, but at the same time, they are also the fuel that sets some people off onto starting their path. And this isn't a bad thing, like I said. Even though I have grown up around spirituality without even realizing it, I still think that it helped my childhood. When I was younger, I used to love, you know, all anything to do with fantasy. And I think that children, in particular younger children now, do need these kind of films and these books and these stories in their lives, because it makes life exciting, don't you think? And even people who aren't pagan or don't grow up to be pagan or have nothing to do with that, I think they need fantasy. Everybody needs something to dream about, don't they? And that's what this is. This is what I think. I don't disagree with them. I'm not going to say, oh my god, they're giving us a bad name, they don't deserve to be anywhere, because I know there's some people who do think that. But to be honest, I think it's not them that gives us a bad name. It's just giving the people who already have something against us fuel. It's just giving them something to play off, you know? So if people didn't have anything against us before, I don't think a movie is going to suddenly make them think, oh my god, now I have something against you. I think it's generally the attitude of the people watching it and the attitude that these people have towards you. So, young pagans, my first set of advice for this topic, I'm going to give some advice to you guys if you're watching, is to, you can watch as many freaking films as you like, and you can read as many books as you like, and you can do whatever. Just because you play Call of Duty on your Xbox doesn't mean you're an army veteran. Just because you play FIFA on your PS3 I have a boyfriend, this is why I know all these games. Doesn't mean you're a superstar footballer, and it doesn't mean you think you are either. So why should watching Harry Potter make anybody feel any different? If non-pagans were allowed to watch Harry Potter and be fine about it, then why aren't we, huh? And they're a great set of films. Go watch them if you haven't and you've been sat in a hole. So, moral and conclusion is that for young pagans, media should not be the reason that you turn away from paganism or you shy away from it, because they are two different things. They are nothing alike. They are not related in any way, so nobody should have a problem with it. And that's all I can say, really. I mean, I think I've discussed it quite a lot. I can't think of any other points at the moment, although probably I'll kick myself later. But that is my point. That they aren't related at all. Fiction will never be related with paganism, because paganism isn't fiction. The only way you can link the two is through mythology. And, you know, that's the only way they can be linked, is that some pagans choose to pray to different goddesses and gods from different pantheons of mythology. And that mythology is its own section, it doesn't come under fiction. So, that is it. I'm going to stop talking now. I think I don't know how long this video is now, because my freaking video stopped halfway through and let's start again. So yeah, in your argument against someone who is accusing you of saying magic isn't real and blah 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 blah, and you should say, well, I know the films aren't real, that's why they're films. Paganism is something completely different to that, and if they want to figure it out on their own, then they can go and research it and stop being so small-minded. Okay guys, so I will see you next week, where I will be choosing the topic, and I haven't actually thought about it properly yet. I hope you like my introduction, and I will see you next week, guys. We're on my personal channel, which will be linked below.